Azurath and Iswal. I don't know why I didn't remember that story earlier. I've heard it often enough from my grandmother and Cain the storyteller. Well, I hope that my information was still more of a help than a hindrance. May light guide you, my friend.
This is the story of Izul, the fallen angel, and his original appearance slated for Diablo 1, which was cut from the final game.
Farnham is often confused, but he speaks a powerful name when the word Iswal passes his lips. Cain would be able to tell you in much greater detail the legend of this warrior.
The original wicked tale of Izul can be started once the player has entered level 15 of the Burning Hells and travels back to town. At this point, you can approach Jillian the barmaid, and she says,
Pray your pardon, but I have something to tell you that you may find interesting. It was the strangest thing. While drinking at the tavern, Farnham was rambling about something called Azurath. He also said something about a fallen angel. It was hard to understand him because he was very drunk and disoriented, but I seem to remember something about a key in a barrel. He also kept covering his face and repeating the word Iswal over and over again.
What a confusing bunch of clues we're given. Farnham supposedly talks about something called Azurath, a fallen angel, and a key in a barrel, which may be pivotal to solving this mystery, and all the while, he was supposedly covering his face. Curious about the new quest the dialogue is initiated called Izul, the Fallen Angel, we head to Farnham to hopefully decipher these clues.
Did you ever hear the one that Cain tells? I love that one.
Thank you, Farnham. No mention of barrels and keys, angels, or Azurath, just drunken giggling. So we saunter over to our only solid lead thus far, the town scholar, Deckard Cain.
Farnham has taken to drinking quite heavily since his encounters in the labyrinth. But within the ramblings of this drunken man rests a legend well steeped in myth and mystery. Sit for a moment, my friend, and let me tell you of Iswal and Azurath. The saga of Iswal takes place during the lost battles in Hell. Iswal was an angel who was given charge of the Holy Rune Blade, Azurath. Leading a daring assault on the Hell Forge, Iswal was set upon by hundreds of blackened demons and was fatally wounded. The fiends cast the dying angel into a dark pit where the powers of chaos transformed him as he drowned in a whirlpool of burning blood. Evil possessed Iswal. The feathers of his wings burned away to reveal leathery skin and horns ripped through the flesh of his head. When he finally arose from that black pit, Iswal was an angel no more. Transformed into a creature of evil, he was once again given charge of Azurath, assuring that the blade would never again be used against the denizens of Hell.
What an unbelievably wicked tale to take Demon's Bane Azurath from the angel Izul, cast him into the abyss, having his wings burned away as he's consumed by a new demonic form, and wickedly making sure that Azurath is only used to protect evil and never against the Hell's forces themselves. If I may make a quick aside, as the character and his blade are of course legendary in the series, and show off the infamous concept art of Chris Metzen, showing this hellish scene taking place. Notably, as mentioned by Cain, angels in Diablo 1 still had feathery wings and visible flesh versus their light counterparts, which were revised later. Speaking of weapons, we should see what the town blacksmith Griswold has to say on the fate of Azurath.
The blade Azurath! Ugh, it's legend! It was cast by the angelic weaponsmith Synodid and tempered within the fires of judgment. Whoever wields this weapon will find the legions of hell at his feet. If you found this blade, I would begin to truly believe that you could end the nightmare that has befallen our town.
It's clear this coveted weapon of the high heavens should never have fallen into the demon's hands, and we can only lament its devious repurposing. It's also quite amazing the blade is famous enough for most of the townsfolk to be aware of it. So, as we leave the well, we see Ogden, the innkeeper, and if he has further knowledge of the sword.
There is an old story of an angel named Iswal, but I don't remember much more than that.
Although not much is gained, it's clear that this is a shared fable in Tristram, and so we head to Wirt, who says,
If you were to find any trace of Iswal or the blade Azurath, even I would be impressed. That is definitely one of a kind.
Even Wirt seems to revere this blade versus his less than stellar reaction to Shadowfang, its seemingly dark counterpart. As we have learned what we can, all that is left is to head to Adria the Witch, second to only Cain in terms of knowledge of the high heavens and burning hells.
The once proud Iswal is trapped deep beneath the surface of this world. His honor stripped and his visage altered, he is trapped in immortal torment, charged to conceal the very thing that could free him.
What a cruel fate to be put in charge of a holy weapon by the high heavens, be torn apart by demonic legions, and remade in a pool of blood in the abyss. Azul himself trapped in a demonic unholy form, and to add insult to injury, to be put in charge of said weapon again, with the opposite intent. Heading down to level 15, we search for this mysterious room Farnham spoke of, left to contend with hordes of snow witches firing torrents of blue cold bolts at us, and dastardly Kabbalists whirring wicked licks of lightning in chains before promptly teleporting to safer ground. A maddening affair for a warrior whose only way to breach the distance is to trudge at them, one by one. But finally, we come across the fabled room full of barrels. As we use a lightning spell to open the barrels and they explode in unison, no keys are found. So, with that, we head back to town in search of clues from the source, Gillian.
You know, now that I think about it, maybe it wasn't a key in a barrel, but a barrel that was the key. Does that make any more sense?
So the barrels are the key, underneath which all there is a pad that looks like some type of warp point. Out of ideas again, we teleport back to town. However, like the Butcher's Chamber, this too must have been a clue, and an eerie crimson portal leading to the Temple of the Damned opens, and it makes sense that the barrels were shaped themselves like a portal and hiding the pedestal underneath. In this green-floored dimension, we are immediately set upon Blood Knights and Doomsayers with overwhelming frost attacks, and we make a hasty retreat as soon as we thaw and start using the walls as cover to thin the herd, lest we be hacked down as a warrior-sized ice cube. After clearing the room, we spy a pedestal where it's clear we must insert some kind of key or unlock it somehow. First, heading to the northwest room, we are met by a unique Blood Knight named Catalan Lefares the Destroyer, boasting abilities of being extra strong and a nasty charge with fire enchantment. He nearly drops us in one hit, and we're only able to just hack through his defenses with our own nasty stun lock against the wall, thanks to the cleave ability. After which we find a switch in the furthest room and head south to find its assumed second counterpart in the rooms below. It's then we are promptly ambushed by a group of Doomsayers, a move which is cold even for them. Swathing a path through the remainder of the pack, we unlock the second switch and a door opens above us. It's here we're forced to face the Overlord, Archrector Repeshag, a demon clearly well versed in the art of fire conjuration. Only by using the bone-built walls and utilizing a vantage point do we quickly burn him down before his brethren have a chance to fell us. Upon defeat, he will drop the temple's keystone, and as well a much-needed tower shield named Bonewing, which boasts enhanced defenses, plus 40% to cold resist, thank you, and plus 9 to vitality. After re-prepping our gear and supplies, we take the temple's keystone and place it on the grim pedestal.
How much suffering, mortal, does it take before you lose your grace? Let me show you.
With a macabre line about his fall, Azul opens his barrage of attacks with a deadly circle of cold, which is, of course, later his trademark. Although we are further protected from cold, it's not enough to save us from being slowed, and Azul, in his demonic form, viciously pounces on us while we're vulnerable, hammering down our defenses with ease as we thirstily gulp potion after potion, trying to stave off his ferocious assault. Juggling the onslaught of cold, potion management, and utilizing his skills to burn down Azul's own defenses, we finally fell this foul demon.
Turn to heaven, warrior of light.
Although the victory is bittersweet, Aiden remarks about his soul being freed of this ghastly demonic vessel. However, as we know, that isn't the case. But before we discuss this, and we check his body for loot, and of course, one piece is a very unique sword. Rushing back to town, we seek out Deckard Cain to identify our bounty, especially this curious, unusable rapier.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Identifying the sword, it turns out, of course, to be Azurath. Having plus 10 to all attributes, a plus 35% chance to hit, cold hit damage is a whopping plus 8 to 20, plus 25 increased attack speed, and minus 40% requirements so that we can use it straight away, plus 50 damage to undead, which no doubt specifically was imbued upon its creation, and as a weapon of the high heavens, a 5% chance to cast Holy Bolt on striking. What a remarkable blade, fit for any agent of light, and freezing enemies where they stand. Of course, this blade does make an appearance in the sequels, and Azul himself does too. However, this story does take a darker turn, as he is still a fallen angel in Diablo 2, trapped in demonic form. And we learn his canon backstory of how he betrayed the high heavens upon his capture and was instrumental to the primevals corrupting the soul stones.
Tyrael was a fool to have trusted me. You see, it was I who told Diablo and his brothers about the soul stones and how to corrupt them. It was I who helped the primevals mastermind their own exile to your world. The plan we set in motion so long ago cannot be stopped by any mortal agency. Hell itself is poised to spill forth into your world like a tidal wave of blood and nightmares. You and all your kind are doomed.
Another tidbit I found fascinating about Azul that we learned later horrifically is that unlike a normal angel, that when they perish they will reform in the high heavens as a new angelic being, Azul is now technically a demon, and when he is perished in Diablo 2, he will just come back as a demon in Diablo 3, something unprecedented, though it is of course a characteristic trait of demons themselves, hence why the primevals can resurrect. Tyrael himself actually has a somewhat similar trademark, as he is the only angel to have reformed when he died destroying the World Stone, instead of dissipating and reforming as a new angel. So it seems that even though Azul was one of his own trusted lieutenants in the past, they are bonded by this regeneration, which is very unique to both of them. But that is a story for another time. What did you think of Azul's original plot and its inevitable retcon to bring him into the broader story of the Diablo universe multiple times? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe. I release videos most weekdays at 7 PM PST. Thanks for watching, and until next time, traveler.
It seems we've both fallen from grace, Tyrael. Come, embrace your former lieutenant.